In 2023, I was about to begin working as a suicide and crisis counselor with 988. And before beginning the work, I wanted to make sure that I was just in a good headspace, that I was even keeled and just prepared to take on just the extensive amount of trauma and the emotional overload potentially. So I started to research support groups that would be able to help, knowing that I'm a human with my own baggage. I'm also a healer. I'm Buddhist, and I believe in world peace. And so taking on all of that as a part of my mission, it can be hard sometimes, but I was like, I'm going to do this. And so I started to research these groups and I found Emotions Anonymous. And so I was like, that sounds very interesting. And so then I dug a little bit deeper and I found a list of meetings. And so I was like, okay, there's one that happens at 6:30 a.m. I can go to that one. I don't really know what step 11 is, but all throughout my life, I guess you can say recovery, the tools, it has all been around me, sponsorship. Um, my parents are recovering addicts and they have been members of Narcotics Anonymous for over 30 years. And so I was raised in an environment where my mom was very transparent about being predisposed to addictive behavior and how our family karma, would show up mental illness, addiction, compulsive behaviors. And so I kind of grew up prepared for this. But I didn't take the journey in my own life. I thought that I was doing it for work. But when I got into the first meeting, I realized that the universe brought me to that meeting for my healing. And so at my first meeting, I woke up a few minutes late, but I guess you can say that I arrived in the nick of time. I logged on and received a message that said, "Welcome, Aaliyah." And the screen said 8 minutes of quiet meditation. And then there was a reading and meditation reposted in the chat. And so while I was sitting there doing the meditation, I'm asking myself, why am I here? And then, I read the piece. And so, if I may, it was decided at a group conscious collective meeting that this would be read at the meeting. Today, I humbly ask my higher power for the grace to find the space between my impulse and my action, to let flow a cooling breeze when I would respond with heat, to interrupt fierceness with gentle peace, to accept the moment which allows judgment to become discernment, to defer to silence when my tongue would rush to attack or defend. I promise to watch for every opportunity to turn toward my higher power for guidance. I know where this power is. It resides within me, as clear as a mountain brook, hidden in the hills. It is the unsuspected inner resource. I thank my higher power for this world of light and truth I see when I allow it to direct my vision. I trust it today and hope it trusts me to make all effort to find the right thought and action today. And it was medicinal. And I was like, okay, universe, I am on board. So then the time to share began, and I was really nervous about this. My anxiety, I had been diagnosed with major depressive disorder and psychosis, and despite trying to turn that poison into medicine as a holistic healer, and doing all of these things, I was still very afraid to be a part of this collective. But something says stay. And before the shares begin, it said, you don't have to speak, you can just be fed emotionally. And I was like, okay. And so I heard a member say, I can abstain from every substance except my emotions. That's why I'm here. And it made so much sense. Like I, I, I was like, right. There's so many feelings that you can be addicted to: stress, love. Every group is technically being represented here, and every individual with every issue has a space, in this place. And I was just like, thank you, thank you, universe. And so I started to research, how did I end up in the step 11? Being a spiritual person, the number 11 is a master number, and it represents the spiritual messenger. And so when I read what step 11 was, it is sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understand Him, praying only for his will for us and the power to carry that out. And it was all about spiritual awareness, right? Like using this this challenge and having awareness about how it's working for me, with me, by me, in order to make me better. And so I continued to come and work the steps. I would do these they were smaller groups, but they would allow you to work on step 1, step 2, step 3 each week at a time, and travel with other folks who are on this healing journey. And it was amazing. It was one of the first times in my life that I really started to venture out, and explore what a healing community could truly offer. And I didn't feel jaded by the fact that we were in person. I felt connected to the shares and the stories, all the things that we were going through together. And so continuing through the program and working the steps, I would meditate on certain slogans and tools that we use, like the Just for Today number 7. I will have a program. I may not follow it exactly, but I will have it. I will save myself from two pests, hurry and indecision, and just repeating to myself, I will have a program when the psychosis starts to attack. And sometimes the thoughts and feelings that I'm feeling, they're mine and they're not mine, and they're from so long ago, or the anxiety is so, ahead of me and so many years away from now. And it just feels like the ground is shaking and slipping from under me. And it's when I remember to use these tools, that I'm grounded. I get to settle. I get to remember that I am working the steps. Healing is not a destiny, it's a journey. And it's all about putting one foot in front of the other and continuing to move forward. And so, of course, I had, made a vow that I would attend every day. And during the first year, that's what happened. And then the second year, I started to fall off. And then coming into this third year, I could see what my life was missing, and how the tools helped me make sense of Buddhism. They helped me understand and understand more, what I am experiencing. And so just for example, realizing that being born in this lifetime, I was raised by sponsors, by my sponsors, my parents, you know, my aunts, my uncles, the very people that saw to my well-being had experienced this journey. And I was born into a family that was all about recovery. I started to experience gratitude, and it became more than a practice that we were doing during the meeting. And it started to become something that I incorporated into my daily life and appreciating the smaller things. And so now, recovery, you know, using faith, fighting with faith, seeing every opportunity as a a a way that I can dig deeper into my life and strengthen my connection to my highest power and achieve. I didn't feel this way completely before entering the program, and working the steps. And now I do. I don't just have faith in recovery and the fact that it exists. I know how to reach recovery through faith with the power of prayer. And that, I appreciate you for listening, allowing me to share and being here with me. Again, my name is Aaliyah. I am from New Jersey, and it was such a pleasure. Happy anniversary, everyone.